In this lesson, we will take a tour on the periodic table and will learn about periodic properties. Chemists use this powerful tool to organize chemical information. Most elements on the periodic table are metals, as you can see from here, on the left side and the bottom part. All these are metals. All these colored as blue are metals. So what are the properties of metals and what is the oxidation number or the valence electrons? Let me give you some idea on those. Okay, so group 1, this is group 1, this is group 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 groups. These are the columns, and we have 7 periods: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 periods. And the groups are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18 groups. And now this first group, this is not colored because that is hydrogen, which is actually a non-metal, but since it has one valence electron, we put it on this first group. Okay, so what is that valence electron? Each element in the first group will have one electron in the outer shell, so it has one valence electron. Okay, similarly, second group will have two electron in the outer shell, so we have two valence electron from the second group. And we are not going to count the valence electron for the transition metals at this point. We will talk about group 13, which is also called 3, okay, in general, because these first two groups and these 6 groups together we call it as main group elements. So we are concerned about the main group elements now, which are also called representative elements. Okay, we will talk about it in another lesson. Okay, so in the 13th group, when you write the electron configuration, you can see there are 3 valence electrons. For 14th, 4 valence electron. For 15th, 5, and so on, each group. And how normally students remember is they will take only the number from the right of the group number. Okay, only the one on the right. So this will be 3, this will be 4, this will be 5, and so on. Okay, so then another thing I want to point out is that what will be the oxidation number or the charge on each group of the periodic table. So first group, second group, and 13th group, as you can see here, blue color, all these are metals. So it will remove one electron to form a positive ion, or I can say to become more stable. Since the first group has one valence electron, it will remove one electron and it will have the charge of +1. And since it has 2, it will have a charge of +2. Since it has 3 valence electron, it will remove all the 3 and it will have +3 charge. That is called oxidation number or valence or the charge of the ion it's going to form. From here, you can see that non-metal starts, right? So it will have actually a special charge, either positive or -4, and from here onwards it's going to be negative. So for 15th group or the 5th group it will be -3, and then it will be -2, then -1, and for 18th group it is 0. So these metals, what are the characteristics in general? They are very shiny. When you cut, the fresh surface will look very shiny, and they are mostly silver in color, and they are solids, and they can be beaten into thin sheet like aluminum foil. So that is called malleability, or they are malleable. You can beaten into thin sheet. And they are ductile, means you can drawn into thin wire, copper wire like that. This can be beaten into thin sheet like aluminum foil. This is like a copper wire. And they are good conductors of heat and electricity. That is why it is actually using in electrical wiring and utensils. For cooking utensils, copper is used. Okay, so these are in general some properties of that one. And metals lose electron, as I said here, and they form cation. That's the name of the ion is cation, which are positively charged. Okay, so let's see some examples on metal pictures. Here are some examples: nickel, antimony, copper, iron, and tin, chromium, manganese, cadmium, bismuth, and lead. Some examples from the lab pictures. Okay. So here some more examples. See, lithium, which is in the first group, it is stored in oil here, and the lithium is floating here. You cannot see because of the label. Lithium is floating on top because of low density, and this is because it is highly reactive. If it is exposed to air, it will react with air as well as the moisture from the air. So it's going to be dangerous to keep it open. So that's the reason it is stored under oil. Okay, and this is magnesium from the second group. Actually, it is little granules here, but you can see in the lab magnesium ribbons. It is in this just like a ribbon. Okay, and calcium is also from the second group. You see the all are shiny, little dark in color, silvery color. Okay, so these are some properties and these are some examples of metals. Now let us talk about the nonmetals. As I already said, this is hydrogen, that's a nonmetal, and all these elements are nonmetals. Compared to metals, very few nonmetals in the periodic table, and mostly it is on the right side, you can see, except hydrogen here. And now, how many valence electrons it will have? In this 14th group, only 4, right? 4 valence electron, 5 valence electron, 6 valence electron, 7 valence electron, and 8 valence electrons. So these nonmetals gain electron and it will form a negative ion, which is called anion. Okay, gain electrons to become stable, and they are brittle, means you can cut it easily. They are not that shiny, very dull in color, and they don't conduct electricity, and exist in all three states: solid, liquid, and gases. Let me show you an example for that. This is bromine. Bromine is in liquid state. You can see the color of bromine as well. And iodine, we use that one for sublimation in the sublimation lab. So iodine is solid in state. And you know already helium, neon, and all these are gases, and helium is used to fill the balloon. Remember, for the happy birthday balloons, you can see that helium is filled in there. So that is gaseous in state, and this is liquid in state, and this is solid in state, for example. Correct? Okay, so this is another example of nonmetal. Carbon. There are two forms. Carbon can exist as graphite as well as diamond. And graphite conduct electricity, okay, even though that's a non-metal, and diamond do not conduct electricity. Just an extra point here, that's it. So these are some examples for non-metals. So metalloids are, there's a staircase here. Whichever metal is touching that staircase are called metalloids. That shows the properties of both metals and non-metals. So some examples are here. You can see in the periodic table, those elements who touches that zigzag line here, they are metalloids. And the properties are intermediate between metals and non-metals.